Alright, hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Trogdor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I am bringing everybody the 11th and final week of the NSTL. This is the last battle of the season, so I'm very excited to be bringing you this very interesting battle. My opponent is Ellie, aka Charlie, Poiple Charlie, and the Accrington Stantler. Her team is, I want to say, it's basically Aegislash and a bunch of other shit. So, you know, it's an interesting team to prep for in that regard. So, without further ado, I'm actually doing the same thing I did last week, which is the team builder and the battle in one video. Again, due to time constraints, I just don't have a lot of time to, do everything. We decided to not take this battle super seriously because it doesn't matter all that much. Both of us at this point are knocked out of the playoffs race, and unless I lose really badly and a couple other coaches do extremely well this same week, we both have a very good chance of being placed in the top division for next season of, well, not for the next league or whatever. So without further ado, I'm going to go over what I brought. Starting out with my Zygarde, I knew from very early on in the season, based on my opponent's team composition, I wanted to bring a sub-coil Zygarde set. So that is exactly what I'm doing. So sub-coil, 1,000 arrows, and outrage does a lot of work against Ellie's team. Very ground weak, and the ground immunities, of course, can't avoid the 1,000 arrows. I don't need a lot of speed because her team is kind of slow, but you know, it's much more beneficial for me to invest heavily in HP and a little bit of bulk, but you know, coil is just in the long run much better for me. 1,000 arrows outrage with it just does a ton of damage, and I forget what the fairy was. I want to say, well, whatever it is, once the fairy's gone I can spam outrage, otherwise 1,000 arrows will just be dropping everything. Heatran has a fantastic matchup this game with Lava Plume, Stealth Rock. I'm going just like an offensive Rock Setter and Earth Power. The idea behind this set, I'm running max speed because to me the most likely switch in to Heatran is the Mega Blastoise, which is on the team. So unless the Blastoise is running max speed, I will outspeed it. Well, I'm assuming of course it would be modest, you don't generally run timid Blastoise, so I am max speed modest. So unless it's also max speed modest, I will outspeed. So the idea is I'll be going for Lava Plume or Earth Power most of the time, and if Blastoise switches into that predicted hit, it can either tank, it will certainly tank both of these hits, and then surprise, Solar Beam, Power Herb, you're dead. So unless it's max HP, max Spadef, then it will die to a combination of Solar Beam and one of these two hits. And if it, for example, if Earth Power does I want to say it's 25%, then I know it's completely uninvested in any bulk, so then I would know it would be outspeeding, so I'd skip town and stuff. So Heatran's going to be doing a lot of damage. There's not a lot of good switch-ins for Lava Plume except for aforementioned Blastoise. And given that Ellie has a small Sun Core with Ninetales and Bellossom, Lava Plume will be doing even more, and I might even be able to save my Power Herb if I play my cards right. But again, I don't know how meme out of 10 her team would be. I'm hoping maybe at least a medium, in which case I do kind of see the Sun Core, but yeah. Anyway, speaking of memes, I'm bringing Yanma for the second time ever, going with Bug Buzz, Protect, Ancient Power, and Air Slash with the Bugyinium Z. This is max speed, max special attack, modest, and I just hope that Yanma can be a late game cleaner for me. That's all I want in the world. I want Yanma to finally get some kills at the end of the season, so that's what it's coming in for. And we were like, hey, are we going to be memeing? And we were kind of like, yeah. And she was like, I was kind of like, maybe like medium spice on average. So she was like, oh, so a good team plus Yanma, and that's, yeah, basically what's happening. So Yanma's coming in, and it's gonna be awesome, I hope. But yeah, we'll see about that. Next up is Latias. I'm going with a Trick Scarf set. Probably the most like standard set I could bring for this. Draco Meteor, Ice Beam, Psyshock, and Trick just does a ton of damage. And it's great because there are potentially 2 Eviolite users, being Porygon 2 and Piloswine. I know Choice Scarf isn't the best thing in the world to give to them, but forcing them to be Choice, you know, them both being generally bulkier Mons, and taking away their Eviolite and forcing them into one move will just make my life easier if I can correctly predict giving either of them a Choice Scarf. Hopefully the Piloswine, just because it's gonna, well, it's more likely to have some non-attacking moves, or Ice Shard, which is gonna outspeed me anyway. So that's Latias. It's kind of standard, kind of boring, but that's my Jet waifu. Anyway, next up is my Tapu Bulu. I originally wanted to go for a special Tapu Bulu with Calm Mind, Substitute, Dazzling Gleam, and then Energy Ball, just because like Dazzling Gleam is the only fairy move it gets, which I find very unfortunate, and that would hit the, I almost said Haxorus, but no, it's Komo-O. I don't know why I thought Haxorus. But after I decided on the Trick Scarf set with Latias, I said, why not just go for Torment? It'll do really well with Sub and Protect on Bulu, and it'll just make me able to fire off Wood Hammers much more easily. So it's like I go for either Sub or Protect on the turn that they can't hit me with a poison move, and then when I'm safe and they can't go for the one hit that's going to be super effective against me, then I just hit a big Wood Hammer. And Wood Hammer just does a crap ton of damage to everything, even though I just realized that I brought a serious nature. I'm of course, the battle has already happened. I'm just going over the team builder. So I realized that I wasn't adamant and then I was actually serious. So I guess this, wow, okay, good job, Trogdor. Next up, Cofagrigus with Rest Talk, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, Resto Chesto. This is great because most likely there's going to be like an incoming status on Cofagrigus, just because it's my best wall and the best answers to wall is like a Toxic, so I've just got a Resto Chesto. And yeah, Shadow Ball just does a ton of damage to everything that's not Porygon 2, and just Rest Sleep Talk with Calm Mind is super duper annoying to really any team, but Ellie's team especially. So that's a really quick recap of what I'm bringing. I will move directly on into the battle to see exactly how well this team does. Once again, Subcoil Zygarde, Power Herb, Heatran, Trick Scarf, Torment, Resto Chesto, Yanma. Cool. See everyone in the battle in just a moment. Okay, and I'm back, and I'm here with the battle. So, Ellie decided to bring Porygon 2 and Piloswine, so both Eviolite users, so something is getting crippled by Latias. Ellie brought Zapdos and Aegislash, 2 things that Zygarde can potentially just completely bop. Ellie brought Bellossom, but no Ninetales, so I don't really know what it can potentially do to me. Could be a bulky thing for like a Bulu check. And then Clefable, which any day of the week, Clefable is just a fat piece of doo-doo that does not die. So hopefully I can just get a lot of damage on Clefable. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. So let's see how this battle goes. I'm going to lead Latias as Ellie leads with Porygon 2. It gets my Levitate, but guess what? You don't have your Eviolite anymore. So that worked out really great right away. Even though Ice Beam does a huge chunk, but I can safely switch into Heatran as that gets predicted and Piloswine comes in. Ellie gets up her Stealth Rocks right away, predicting a thing. As I just start going for the Calm Minds to get a big chunk of damage on Bellossom, so it's pretty bulky with the Leech Seed and stuff. which is, in hindsight, is interesting because my only immunity to Leech Seed is the Bulu, and Bellossom can just do huge damage to Tapu Bulu with Sludge Bomb. So that was actually a pretty nice bring to deal with Tapu Bulu in that Bellossom. So anyway, I can safely go into Heatran and get up rocks of my own because Sludge Bomb does nothing, and I just go ahead and do that. Tracing the Flash Fire is a really nice way to do things because I'm obviously going to be going for that on the Bellossom. Porygon 2 comes in, powers up its fire moves, and then wow, it can just scare Heatran out right away. So well done with that prep. But of course it is locked into whatever move it goes for. Tapu Bulu hopefully can do some damage. Thunderbolt does potato to that. So I can freely get up a sub and start clicking Wood Hammer on things. Bellossom, of course, comes in. It can hit me with Sludge Bomb and just do a ton of damage to me, but I'm safe behind the sub for now as it gets tormented. So no matter what, next turn it cannot go for Sludge Bomb, so I am free to keep doing things with Tapu Bulu because Bulu does what Bulu does. It's funny, someone in the chat said reveal Focus Punch. That would have been a really great bring on my part, but I wasn't thinking enough about Bulu. It was a very quick decision to switch from Calm Mind to this interesting Torment set. Anyway, for some reason Leech Seed is used right here, but I'm still, behind the substitute. As I go for Wood Hammer, and it does a lot of damage, but that's a critical hit. So I apologize for that as my sub gets broken, and it's not looking like a favorable matchup for me here, especially as the grassy terrain goes away. So it literally can't do anything to my Heatran, and that might have been HP Ice or something, but this time I predict the Porygon 2 to not come in, so I go for the Lava Plume and get rid of that Bellossom for good. So that's pretty good damage. Heatran doing work. Piloswine comes in. So of course it is Thick Fat, so Lava Plume is not doing that much damage. I actually calced it. The most damage I can do to Piloswine is with Solar Beam, which does around like 74 to 80%. So if I get another couple rounds of rocks on the Piloswine with it switching into my Heatran, I can almost certainly go for a surprise Solar Beam and get rid of the Piloswine. So it can get baited in pretty easily by the Heatran, so that's gonna hopefully work out for me. It does Earthquake, which, Toxic misses, I'm free to get up a Calm Mind, but even if the Toxic does hit like it does now, I've still got my Rest. So next turn I can rest up, get my Chesto, and I've got a lot of boosts. Clefable comes in, so that is most likely an unaware set, which is unfortunate. Otherwise my Shadow Balls would be able to do enough damage to 1v1 this. Luckily I do have my boost, so I'm able to tank that Moonblast. But yeah, I'm not doing enough damage to 1v1 this. So Heatran can eat any of its hits as Porygon 2 comes in once again, but I kind of saw that coming because, I don't want to go for Flash Fire again. I get off huge damage with Earth Power as Ice Beam does nothing, so surprised to see that it didn't have HP Ground or something. So yeah, I was able to deal with that Porygon 2 pretty handily with Heatran. Heatran looking like MVP right now, which is pretty great. So Piloswine comes in, 76%. I have a chance to kill, but it doesn't kill. So I got kind of low rolled right there, but it's totally okay because I get it down to rocks, and I can, do anything to this Piloswine, including hit it with a Shadow Ball from Cofagrigus. But I am toxic now. I'm on a timer. I can go for a rest, but that makes Aegislash completely able to set up in my face. Now I'm a sleepy Cofagrigus in front of an Aegislash, which just got double the speed, which now can outspeed everything on my team except for Latias, which cannot hit it hard enough to do damage. So I just have to hope that I can bring in Zygarde at a point where I can tank a Shadow Ball from it and then fire off 1,000 arrows. But then again, that's going to be a pretty tricky situation for me to predict around that. So right now I'm going to go for Sleep Talk and hope that I get a Shadow Ball to take it out once it goes into Blade form. I can take one hit from this Aegislash, but once it's in Blade form, I'll be able to hit it with Shadow Ball if in fact I get that, which I of course go for Sleep Talk right here, but I get the Calm Mind. And yeah, If I had gotten a little bit lucky right there, Aegislash would be gone. But instead, bring in Zygarde. So, 1,000 Arrows seems really obvious right here, so instead I'm going to go for the sub so that I am safe from any attack that it wants to hit me with. But there are mind games right here, absolute mind games. Because I've got sub, she's got the King Shield. This is kind of scary. So it goes for the Shadow Ball right here. Great. I go for the Coil, and I can tank another Shadow Ball and destroy it with... yeah, that was the Hidden Power Ice, which I thought I was in pretty good shape against the Aegislash right there, but I guess not. So that was unfortunate. I could have done very well with Zygarde if it didn't have that move. Oh well. Aegislash is kind of broken, so yeah, maybe I'll hopefully get it myself for next season just so I don't have to face it ever again the rest of my life. So I'm going to protect right here to get some health back from the grassy terrain and my leftovers, and it's still in shield form, so I can tank a hit and then just destroy it with Wood Hammer, but in the process destroy myself. So Bulu died for a good cause right here, and yeah. Send out Latias, hopefully can do a ton of damage with Ice Beam or Draco or whatever, but I go for the Ice Beam because, you know, Clefable's still a thing, but it goes for the Roost, so this is getting annoying. My better bet now is to get the Draco. Interesting that it got some grassy terrain recovery due to being roosted, so that was a, you know, pretty good idea, all things considered. Now it's time for Yanma to bring everything back, ladies and gentlemen. I am at 51% health, Zapdos is at 21%, and Clefable is still pretty good. But I have a chance to bring this back with my Yanma right here, right now. This would be the most fantastic end to the season if I can hit this Zapdos with an Ancient Power, get my speed boost, do a lot of damage with the Corkscrew Crash. Yanma has a chance to bring this back right here, right now. It begins. I am protected from that Thunderbolt as I am able to go get my speed, go for the Ancient Power, and take out the Zapdos. I get another speed boost, but I did not get the other boost, so that is kind of unfortunate. But I am still able to hit huge damage with Corkscrew Crash. Wait, no, it's Savage Spin Out. Why was I saying... If I had the Corkscrew Crash for Yanma, that would just destroy the Clefable, but instead I've got the Savage Spin Out because Yanma doesn't get a Steel move. Anyway, I have a chance to maybe do just a ton of damage to Clefable with my Z Power right here, right now, and bring it home with Yanma. Rock's damage takes into effect, I go for my Z Power, and then it doesn't do enough. And Moonblast kills me.